Hi, welcome to part 5 of my look at the collected archives by Kenny Norris. So, in this chapter, uh, Kenny gives his guide to solo role playing, which has an interesting fourth step. But it says the four steps is Kenny gives it is picking a solo engine and the rule set, choose a campaign, get the story out of your head, and then share the story. And it's that fourth one of building in sharing your actual play in some format as part of starting solo role playing is I don't know, it's an interesting idea, but not one that I would ever put in a guide to starting solo role playing. So the chapter actually starts with this kind of made up situation of someone failing to get into their solo game because they don't really know what they're doing. And that is the reason for this fourth step of, you know, if everyone that was solo playing shared their games, then there would be far more models for us to follow. There would be so many different varieties of solo play for us to choose from, and it wouldn't be something which is tucked away in little corners of the internet. There would be easy to find solo plays of almost every system you can imagine. So yeah, I kind of get why you're going the campaigning element of it. But I also think it would be a little bit intimidating if every guide to solo play says, right, so you've done all this yourself, and now put it out there and you see what people think. Uh, the internet can be a bit hostile. So step one, oh, choose your solo engine and rule set. Well, uh, yeah, that's definitely the place to start. Uh, Now, I always tell people to try and focus on games they know well, and it's Kenny's kind of saying the same thing here. If you kind of know the rules well, it's one less thing to worry about. Also, people tend to move towards simpler game systems, so there's less rules altogether. Um, Now, I really got into solo to learn completely new games, so that's kind of bucks that trend a little bit. And to play games where I'd have a shelf full of games and then not be able to play them, but solo play allowed me to pick up any game and then play it. So they're saying pick your favorite, which I think that's good advice. You can get recommendations of what games are really good to solo. I think that's definitely second place, or even third place. I would put that because games are such a personal thing, and solo play is such a personal thing. Um, a game I may think is brilliant, and because it works the way that I solo play, may not be ideal for you at all. Now it says a system you've always wanted to try, or a new system that everyone's talking about. Now that's definitely me, and I would actually put those two as one, and have that as the second point. Uh, so yeah, you're playing your favorite game. Definitely playing stuff you've always wanted to play. That'd be great. Going with other people's recommendations, that's a potential minefield. It can be a bit dodgy. Three things to think about. Learning a solo role playing is easier if you keep things simple. Now, hidden in that is you can learn to solo play using a very, very simple system and then use those skills to play your favorite game or play games you've always wanted to try or games that other people are always talking about. It's almost a separate thing, or potentially a separate thing, the learning and then the putting in practice, rather than bunging it all together. Um, Now, I know people that absolutely love playing the whole party. Now, it says here it's best not to start out role playing a whole party, but something I see come up again and again is you create one character, you solo play one character, they die in the first encounter, rinse and repeat. Because if you've come from social role playing or group role playing, you are used to, well, you're using a module which was geared up for a whole party, or when you picture encounters, you're thinking, oh well, that's going to be 2d8 zombies, and your one character doesn't have a hope in hell of defeating 2d8 zombies. So if you go against kind of Four Against the Darkness, or Five Parsecs from Home, um, these sort of things are based around the whole party. And Dungeon Crawl Classics, the zero level funnel, you have a whole mass of characters, um, and they're almost just cannon fodder. And it's the people that survive that you then evolve into the characters you're going to play. Uh, yeah, I often use a character and a sidekick, and the sidekick I control through the Oracle rather than playing as a full-blown second PC. But if the focus, if I've got a rogue and a cleric, and the adventure calls for more stealth and subterfuge, then I may play the rogue and control the cleric through the oracle, and then when things get more kind of uh, say social interaction, the cleric may have a higher social standing, and then you play that one. So you're changing swapping the focus rather than trying to play everyone at once. But for some people, playing a whole party will get them used to using the oracle and the solo tools, and they can then. It's not only playing a dungeon, no, playing a game that everyone's talking about. Some people want to play classic dungeons, which everyone's talking about, and you will really, really struggle with just a single character. Um, Now, talking about narrative rule sets may need tweaking to make them work well with solo play. I agree. I restructure my solo rules to every game I play. I know that Kenny was very much into Mythic, um, but yeah, I restructure everything, but then I publish them. Rather than publishing my solo plays too often, I do publish the rules I use as an introductory to a new game system. Uh, and it says try different solo engines to find the one that works best for you. Definitely good advice. All right, so now this is where Kenny and I really diverge. Is choice of campaign. I actually quite like very short campaigns and simple campaigns. I can always revisit a game if I really enjoyed it, or if I think that a particular rule set will be the ideal rules for telling a particular story. Um, but if we're talking about getting started, I would say choice of adventure rather than choice of campaign. Really bring it down to just one adventure and then see where we go from there. So yeah, I don't think telling people, oh yeah, but you can get started in solo play, and then you're going to play a whole campaign. I think that's setting people up a little bit for failure. So I'm not on the same page there. Uh, Now, cluster maps, now I call them mind maps, but yeah, they're the same thing. I'm a huge fan of them, but then I grow them organically as I play. Kenny is very much talking about um, doing a campaign level of mind map or cluster map, and I wouldn't. Yeah, I've got a lot of experience in solo play, and I wouldn't contemplate even starting this. And this section goes on about he takes a TV series, the originals TV series, which I think was a vampire one. and he kind of deconstructs it into elements he loves, elements he could live with, elements he could live without, and elements he hates. Splits them all down, and then this is Kenny's cluster map for that TV series, or at least the first, say, two-thirds of it. Because he said he never finished watching the first season, so this is just part of it. And this is it. I would really, really struggle to build a campaign out of something like that. Whereas I often say, as I'm playing, if I generate clues, um, and it seems like it's going to be an important clue, but I don't actually know what the solution is, so I don't really know what is going to be a clue and what isn't. I add them to the mind map, and if I create an NPC, I may focus on the NPCs, their personality, but later on I may say find a strand of hair, and I may roll to see what color it is, and then I might think, okay, do I know any NPCs that have this color hair, and is it a long hair, a short hair? And then I can go back and I can roll for those kind of facts and add them into my mind map. So if I find out that if I found a blonde hair, a long blonde hair, and I go back to the NPCs, and one of the NPCs has long blonde hair, then that would put that NPC at that location, or it could be someone completely different. But um, it would lead me to go and talk to the NPC and say, were you at this location? Why were you there? Why didn't you tell me? But I'd have grown that organically as I play, rather than constructing this galaxy star system almost of um, facts, and then try and build a campaign out of it. So now I use basically pen and paper. I often use them on my tablet PC, so I use the stylus and write on the screen. But it's the same sort of thing. I can very, very easily just draw a line and write an extra element in. Um, it also takes me away from my computer because I often have my tablet with me. I also use notebooks and pen and paper. Yeah, so I do like the idea. I do advocate cluster maps and mind maps, but mine are totally different to this. Now, when it comes to telling the story, um, I generally don't talk to myself, but it could work for some people. I do more somewhere between keeping it inside your head and written, and I'm more of the kind of brief notes sort of person for my own games. I have tried solo role playing live in front of a video camera, and it is really, really stressful for me. Um, yeah, I struggled with it. So you can find some videos of me trying to do that. I look very, very awkward, and I didn't really enjoy the game that much, so I stopped doing it. Um, Now, I've got a example of where I've ended up more recently when I am writing them, especially for sharing, which comes up next. And this is part three of my modern age solo game. And there's two, sorry, excuse, there are two kind of levels of text in here. The standard paragraphs is actually the game from the character's point of view. The indented bold here are the the game mechanics and the solo tools in use. So here's the question of do the signs of investigation look professional like an archaeologist? I may get a 50-50 question, and I get a no because and then my interpretation, why does it not look like it? And I'd say they were moving bricks from the wall, not digging into the ground. Then I go on to the next bit, and then here's the next bit. Is anyone coming? It's early in the morning, so it's unlikely. Then I roll a no, but I said, okay, there's a car in the car park, which suggests that I can't see anyone coming, but there could be someone uh, in the area. Is anyone in the car? Maybe 50-50. There's either is or there isn't, and is no. So there could be someone around. I don't know where they are. They're not in the car. And the next bit here is the part of the wall that's been tampered with large. Yes, but and I say kind of yeah, it's one obvious area. It's one large area. It's not the whole wall or lots of areas. And then down here, I guess what's behind the wall, and I use Muse inspiration words here, and I come up with it. Come up with an idea. Uh, you know, then I refine it. Is it a statue? Is it a book? Is it an artifact? And turns out it's an artifact. Um, and yeah, so I drill down and I end up with this knife with this sculpture of the weird goddess in it. That this bit is not the solo engine, but this is actually modern age game mechanics. I make an intelligence history test, and I generate 4 stamp points. I take lucky break, which gives me additional knowledge later. So that's just game mechanics in here mixed in with the solo rules, and then so I flip flop or turn take between the solo rules and actually playing. So what I actually write down as for the solo play is the character draws out the knife from his hiding place. It looks old, probably Saxon, and it looks genuine. So this is a dilemma: do I take it? That's pretty much stealing. Do I put it back and risk the person that put it there realizing it's been disturbed? So I've kind of like boxed myself into this corner. I've um, do I do what do I do? I've disturbed what they were the thing they were trying to hide. And so yeah, it's very much kind of I have a terrible habit of flip flopping between third person and first person. Uh, so I end up like, do I put it back? And then it's here. It's he's doing this and he's doing that. Um, so yeah, that's my kind of the way I'm writing it out. I'm not writing out like a novel. I'm doing this kind of turn taking, and keeping notes of the solo engine and the roles and things, but not necessarily. I don't often put the actual numbers of the dice down unless that proves to be important, such as the stunt die rolling four and that sort of thing. And then I do share some of my solo plays. Um, I did put them on YouTube. I'm now mainly putting them on my blog. Um, but yeah, you, yeah, I put them on the blog for people to see, and I'm using this flip flopping technique and turn taking so people can actually see what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what the answer was, how I interpreted it. Um, Now, I don't really agree with social pressure forcing you to carry on playing. I definitely just post them for myself. I play when I play, and I share them afterwards. And now, starting small. Now, uh, I he's saying there's benefits and downfalls of starting small. I definitely think start small. If you start small and you're enjoying yourself, you can always carry on. You can build off it. Many campaigns aren't really continuous campaigns. People just play certain modules, modules that feed together and play them back to back. You can do that with solo play. You can you always do another adventure with the same character. You can do another adventure with a different character in the same universe. Um, you can, if your character died, you can actually play a character investigating what happened to your first character. Uh, there's always ways of expanding. You don't have to start big. And as can you talk about moving beyond the basics? As you grow more confident, you may find that it's easier to expand out from what you've done already. And so that, yep, that's it. I think in some of the ideas in this article um, could kill someone's solo role playing right from the start. You know, if they see this and think, "Oh my God, I have to make something like that," and plan out my entire campaign as a cluster map, that could really put people off. And I can honestly say I cannot remember a single actual play of someone that had started with a mind map and a plan for the campaign. Um, so I think this might be a dead end. It might be a red herring. It could be a barrier. So yeah, I do use small mind maps and I grow them organically, but that's the biggest thing that I have an issue with this cluster map and the way it's produced. But yeah, okay. So apart from that, yeah, we've got definitely a difference of opinions, different mindsets, I think. But I think people should share more solo plays. I think it's a good thing, but would I tell people to do it right from the start? I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, thank you for watching this one. I'll post it on the blog probably this afternoon. Thank you for watching.